What's up guys, it's Zac Perna here, and today I'll show you guys my top 5 cutting hacks, and also stick around to find out how to make this epic low carb mashed potato and another one of my favorite desserts. Oh, and one sexy egg white McMuffin. Let's do it. So guys, I've basically already made this video. I've made a cutting hacks part 1, so this is technically part 2. But today I want to show you guys a bit more specifics into the meals. And the whole point of this video is to make a diet easier than it might be otherwise, because I can cut on low calories quite easily. Some people really struggle with it, and they just don't know what to do because they're always so hungry. So I've learned a few things in my time, in my 8 years of training, with not a lot to show for it, but I've learned a few things that have really helped me get through like phases where my calories are super low and I don't want to go and neck myself. So I'll show you guys that today. I've got 5 tips that I'm going to go through, and I know it is winter here in Australia, so Aussie fam, if you want me to do a bulking one, like a muscle gain hacks for guys who simply can't get enough food in, let me know, because I can do that easily, because I eat like a pig and I have strategies to eat like a pig that help me out. So just let me know in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into it. So tip number 1, guys, one word, number 1. So tip number 1, guys, is be smart about your carbs, okay? So a lot of people, when they think of carbs, they just think of like rice, cereals, bread, and they think of real carby carbs, if that makes any sense. But when you're dieting, you just don't have the luxury anymore. So I tend to not have cereal when I'm dieting, or rice, really. I love rice, but if you have like 200 gram rice and you're getting 50 grams of carbs, you could easily have something like a charisma potato, the low carb potatoes. So low carb potatoes have about 8% carbs, and then in that case, you'd be having well over 500 grams just to get the same amount as you would out of 200 grams of rice. So guys, these are the beautiful charisma potatoes. Now, these are, like I said, low carb, but if you're in America, go with pumpkin, butternut squash, go with squash. 500 grams of charisma potatoes, bang. It's about 540 grams of charisma potatoes here. But this will keep you so much more full than if you just have 200 grams of cooked rice, okay? Oftentimes when I'm cooking these, guys, I will just bake them or microwave them. Literally, if you dice these up into like little wedges and microwave it for 10, 12 minutes, money. And then I'll just put salt and some chicken salt on it as well. It tastes like KFC chips. And literally, for that, instead of 200 grams of rice, or instead of, what's that, even 60 grams of cereal, insane. So that's what I mean. Like, definitely go with stuff like this. So here's how I make my mashed potato if you wanna make it sick. So, potatoes, dice them. And then you'll chuck them in a pot, and then we're just gonna boil these for 10, 12 minutes. Okay, I don't know how much I recorded of that, if any, so if I missed anything. But to fill you in, if I did miss anything, what I've done is the potatoes are done, they're cooked. I added some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, fake cheese. Blended it, here we are now. That is the creamiest mash ever. And it's low carb and it's cheesy. That is like, that's too good. So, and like I said, there's about the weight of this is about the same, what, 500 grams? So that is gonna keep you so much fuller than if you were just to have a couple 100 grams of rice, or like I said, 60 grams of cereal. I mean, fuck that. This, a whole pile of mash, if you like mash, then it's really good. If you hate mash, this is probably like disgusting for you, but that's good. And again, like stay away from those foods that are really carb dense. Simply, you just can't eat enough of it. I mean, if you're cutting on like 3,000 calories, you have the luxury of eating those carbs, go for it, that's great. But for me, if I'm trying to squeeze in like 1,800 calories, I'm usually having for my carb sources, fruits, fibrous veggies, and every meal. Oh my God, this light. Dude. I should just wait till it goes. Sorry if you're sitting there getting a headache. Put your sunnies on. Put your sunnies on. And like I was saying, main thing with number 1, I haven't even got to number 1 yet. Main thing with number 1 is keep your carbs high volume, low calorie dense as possible. And so all of your food per meal needs to be high volume. So don't waste your carbs on drinking them, like in any sugars or anything like that. Don't waste your carbs on really carb dense foods like dates, like dried fruits, very carb dense. You're much better going with things like high fibrous vegetables, pumpkin, potato, even sweet potato is a bit more filling, but it is quite carb dense as well. Okay, now tip number 2, this is for the people who really have a sweet tooth when dieting. Did you fucking hear that? I think someone's trying to get my house. Tip number 2 is for people who have a sweet tooth when they're dieting. That's me. So I get a lot of people that message me saying, how do I deal with a sweet tooth when I get that craving? I want something good. And I literally tell them exactly what I do is go for it. Implement a meal like that, like a dessert, into your diet every day. So I've got an example that I've put on YouTube multiple times before of a ice cream that I make before bed. So that's like frozen berries, whey protein, almond milk, any toppings you like, and the whole thing's less than 300 calories. Super sweet. You can bulk it up with like zucchini. I know it sounds weird, but I'll put that in the description as well, the link for that. And I have that nearly every single night, and it keeps me full. It's sweet. There's not many carbs. There's maybe like 30 grams of carbs in it, and it is absolutely delicious. So it hits that sweet tooth, and then after dinner, I don't want anything else because I have that. That's already in my plan, and then I don't go and eat some other junk. Now, tip number 3 is fat burners. And for those that follow me, you guys know that I love OxyShred. Quick plug, Zac 10. Is it there? Yeah, use that. But guys, there's a caveat with this. So fat burners don't burn fat by themselves, okay? And in fact, if I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't call it fat burners. I wouldn't. I'd call it maybe fat assistants. I'm just picturing like a lady working at a desk job who's a little bit on the chubby side. No, the reason why I want to call them fat assistants is because they don't burn fat by themselves, okay? They assist you to burn fat by the 2 fundamentals of either moving more or eating less, okay? So a lot of people, they just cringe when they hear fat burners, which I get that. But what you have to know is how to use them. So for example, I use fat burners to give me energy before my cardio and before weight training. So I have one in the morning, one before my workout. I also use them as a means of appetite suppression. So for example, say if I want to fast and have more calories later in the day, I'll have a fat burner at about 11 a.m. and just to sip on, and then the caffeine actually suppresses my appetite. So I'm good to go. And again, when your energy levels dip, it kind of combats that as well. So I really like them for that reason. It's helping me burn the body fat. So fat burner, this one's great as well because it doesn't leave you jittery, and that's why I really like it. But it's just it's an optional thing. If you guys are really good in the energy and you don't need that appetite suppression, then that's perfect. But for me, this is my best friend. This is my fat assistant when I'm going through a dieting phase. God, there's gonna be some fat assistant out there that's really offended right now. Now guys, number 4 is that secret ingredient that you've been waiting on. Fat assistant. No, egg whites, fat whites. So, very simple yet elegant. The best thing about egg whites is they're basically 0 fat, they're 0 carbs, they're just a source of protein. And they're low in calories as well. So for example, 100 grams of egg whites is probably, I don't know, 3-4 egg whites. And that has next to no, it's like maybe under 100. It is like nothing. So that can be useful for things like omelets and scrambled eggs, even toppings like muffins. So I'll show you a quick recipe on that. So I'm gonna show you guys a pre-workout meal that I was having when I was dieting, little egg white McMuffin, and it also has a bit of fake cheese in there. Fake cheese because it's like low fat cheese. So really, really good. I'll show you that quickly. So let's go with 100. And we're gonna need the fake cheese and a bit of butter as well. I think I just said butter like an American. So we got the butter. And here's another little hack, guys, is low fat cheese. So these singles, like whether it's like Kraft singles or anything like that, it's like plastic cheese, but it is so good in my opinion because it tastes like normal cheese and it melts really, really well. And this has got like 28 calories maybe for one slice. So perfect. So if you guys have a good non-stick pan, you're in luck. If you don't, catch ya, because it's gonna suck for you. But what I like to do is I like to get the pan super hot. When I'm making any type of like scrambled eggs or anything like that, it's just easier with the hot pan. I'll show you why. So when this gets nice and hot, you're gonna quickly butter it up. Egg whites will go in. Good, so they're nearly cook instantly. And then from here, you just swirl it around a little bit. So there you go, like that. See, it's still like, it's cooking itself. It doesn't need heat anymore. We get Old Mate cheese and put the cheese straight in the middle. Flip it. That is so sick. Carefully. Final ingredient is reduced sugar ketchup. I can't taste the difference, it's great. Let's go. I'm making this look easy. There we go. Now let me show you guys what this looks like. Oh, bang. Look at that. Look at that cheese. That's pure heaven. So how good is that, guys? This nice little snack here wouldn't even be like just over 200 calories, and it's a bit of a protein hit. You get some hella cheese drip going through here. I shit you not, it tastes amazing. So that's my McMuffin recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed that. You guys are gonna love this. And it can also be useful for desserts too. So I have a really good dessert where I mix egg whites with sugar-free jelly, and it's kind of like a pancake, fried up, top it with maple syrup, and it's sweet, it's really good. So if you want something like a bit warmer, that's like a dessert, that's another sick one as well. But egg whites is literally something I always have. It's a staple in my house when I'm dieting. I consume maybe 7,000 egg whites per day, and that's not even an exaggeration. No, I think I have about a carton a day, maybe. So I probably have 400 mils on average a day when I'm dieting, purely because I have like an egg white omelet in the morning, maybe at night, if I want something like that, a dessert, I'll do that as well. Now let's get to some recipes. Now guys, this next recipe is using egg whites again and sugar-free jelly. So this what I was telling you about. You want one of these, about 250 ml of egg whites. That'll do. Raspberry or strawberry is sick for this. So right now, this is just about 30 grams of protein, 0 carbs, 0 fats. Now, pan is on. We're gonna need our stick of butter. Like I do every time, butter it up like a weirdo. Pour them in. This looks so weird as well. I'm aware it looks very odd. So just move it around like you're scrambling some weird red jizz. Apologies if I offended anyone who has red jizz. So just keep scrambling it. Now here's where you get creative with it. You can literally add whatever toppings you want. This is mandatory for me, sugar-free maple. So again, great cutting hack, have this in the house. Bit of sugar-free maple in there. What's also really good, peanut butter is ideal, but if you want to go low-cal, PB2 is great, and it's just reduced fat peanut butter. So you can either mix this up with a bit of water and have it like an actual peanut butter, or you can put it in with that and shake it up together just to get the taste. So that's also really good. But for crunch, I just like a gobble of almonds, just a few. Literally, because bitches are calorie dense. That's another little dessert option for you guys. Now the final point I want to cover, guys, is peri-workout nutrition, meaning before, during, and after your workout. So when you're dieting, obviously your calories are getting lower, your carbs are getting lower, your workouts might not be as good. In fact, they probably won't be, and that's all right. But what we want to do is maximize the peri-workout period, so before, during, and after of your workout with nutrition, to make sure at least you're doing everything you can to not completely go downhill. So a few things I like to do. One is pink salt. So I like to salt my food like crazy. And even before I'm going to the gym, like a pre-workout meal, I'll have either a lot of extra salt or just put it on a spoon, like maybe half a teaspoon, and just smack it back. And that helps so much with muscle pumps and just the muscle contractions. But just make sure you're drinking water, obviously. Otherwise you'll be drying out like a prune in the gym floor. But pink salt is great for that. You guys will notice the effects just immediately. So keep salt high. People are scared of salt when they're dieting because they think about water retention, they think they're gonna look fat. And the thing is if you're holding water, it's temporary. So if you keep everything consistent, your body will eventually catch up. You're not just gonna hold water forever. You'll be drinking water, you'll excrete it, and you'll drink more, you'll excrete it all. So it's like after a week or 2 weeks, there should be 0 water retention. And anyway, you'll be getting leaner, so you'll be looking better. So don't worry about salt, guys. The pink salt is great because you also get other minerals in there too. And then with your carbs. Now, I like to get a little bit of carbs pre-workout, maybe 40 grams. I don't need too much, because I don't want to feel sick during the session. So 40 grams of carbs pre-workout, and then the majority of your carbs post-workout, where you're more sensitive to the carbs and you'll take them in a little bit better. So whether this makes a huge difference, it's hard to say, but why not do it, if you know what I mean? So, and then also with the intra-workout carbs too. So if you feel like your sessions are struggling a little bit, you can put some carbs intra in the form of like a powder. If you're gonna do that, go with like cluster dextrin or something that's a bit more like high molecular weight. But that being said, that kind of contradicts one of my other points of don't waste your carbs on drinking them, because usually you wanna eat food, but it just depends where you're at. So if you've got a lot of calories in, you've got a lot of carbs to play around with, then great. I would put some intra-workout carbs in there just to make your sessions even better. But if you're like me, when you are hungry and you'd rather eat all of your food, then just eat your carbs. So you don't need an intra-workout, have a bit extra pre, get some decent carbs in post, and then that way you still have good sessions. Now guys, that is it for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like the video, comment something below, and subscribe to the channel as well. And guys too, I will leave my email list in here. I'm sending out weekly emails, all written by myself. I've got some bangers in the works as well. I'm just doing them every day. So every week you guys will get emails on either like topics like this, but just in written format, or workouts, recipes, whatever it is. And also you'll get early access to my new drops, like my new hoodies that are coming out, which is super exciting as well. So don't forget guys, and you definitely know what to do. Stay massive. All these sexy jeans in my section, and slide into your DMs in the PM and the AM. Then I slide into your feelings when you see just what I'm saying.